Good afternoon, this is Mac Lacy. I'm at the Travel South International Showcase in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I'm with the CEO of the Convention and Visitors Bureau here, Stephen Perry. And Stephen, I flew into town today. I've been down here within the last couple of years, but for somebody who has not been in New Orleans in 4 or 5 years, the construction, the Renaissance, I mean, it's amazing.
Frankly, I don't think any of us ever dreamed that 9.5 years ago we'd be where we are today, back as a leading world destination, and it has been gratifying, and it's so much fun to be a part of a true renaissance of a great American city.
In addition to the French Quarter, which is thriving, the restaurants, everything down there is so strong right now. You've got some other districts in this town that are really cool to visit.
Using the French Quarter as a starting point, but if you go downstream, the next neighborhood on the other side of Esplanade, where the quarter ends, is one of the oldest neighborhoods called Faubourg Marigny. And Marigny is one of the great districts, sort of like our Soho Village,
right.
Greenwich Village. It's got the greatest collection of jazz clubs.
Right.
It's a mixed residential, restaurant, nightlife neighborhood. As you sweep back toward the quarter and above it, you have one of the oldest neighborhoods in the country called Treme. Of course, there was a major HBO show done about named Treme over the last 3 years. Many of the great musicians and a lot of the great jazz traditions have come out of there. It's where Fats Domino lives, for example.
Okay, you're doing about 650,000 international guests a year right now.
Right, and it's about 7-8% of our overall visitor population. We think at the rate it's growing right now, it'll very quickly be 10% and beyond. So the growth has been almost exponential here in the last few years. I would say that the international traveler probably explores more and immerses themselves more in local culture than the average American tourist will. But it's wonderful to see it. We love to see all the internationals having come back, growing at 18% a year.
Right.
Think of what that's like compounded over 4 years. That's a stunning growth. And part of that is the work that we've done with Travel South, with Rhythms of the South, with Brand USA, going on sales missions to Australia, promoting our brand there, doing work with the tour operators, the big companies like Flight Center. They actually came from Australia here, and they had such a spectacular time that without us even realizing it was happening, a month and a half later, they named us one of the 10 great cities in the world to go to.
Well, you mentioned Rhythms of the South, and you're one of the founding members of that, your city, with Nashville and Atlanta. And this Travel South International Show, I mean, you all have a really strong partnership right now between Travel South and Rhythms.
Well, it's both our Rhythms partnership and Travel South are built around the same principle, and that is when you can aggregate the set of resources that we all have, the ability to put that many suppliers in rooms with the top buyers, it really gives you an edge, and it allows you to gain far more than you could with your own resources.
Absolutely.
Going it alone.
Right.
And obviously with the 3 major cities, music and the music variations of the cities. Atlanta is one of the hip-hop capitals really of the world now. Nashville with country music, but also moving into mainstream pop.
Right.
And New Orleans with that, of course, the invention of jazz and the great jazz scene, but also rhythm and blues. So it provides visitors an opportunity to see 3 very different cities with different cuisines, different cultural makeups, and with Atlanta right there in the heart of the South. That world-class airport's about as good as it gets. We all depend on that Atlanta airport.
Sure. Well, speaking of airports, we'll wrap up with this. You've got a new one coming in here in 4 years?
We do. We're breaking ground right now on a new nearly $1 billion airport. The famous Argentine architect, Cesar Pelle, is one of the 2 or 3 most renowned architects in the world. This is his last design before retirement. And it is going to be a spectacular, modern, sweeping facility using the same runways but on the opposite end. And it should open in what is going to be a spectacular 2018 for us, because that is the tricentennial, the 300th anniversary of the birth of New Orleans.
Wow.
Which fits in right after IPW and Powwow in
Right.
2016. So it doesn't get any better for international
You guys
marketing.
sound like you're busy, but it sounds great. It sounds like a big 4 or 5 years going up for New Orleans, and thanks for all your hospitality down here.
We love having Travel South International Showcase. I mean, this is a great week for all of us.
Okay, thanks.
Good to see you.